The Republican tax plan is said to be quietly coming together in Congress. The GOP needs a legislative win and say tax cuts will likely spark economic growth. But Democrats ask at what cost? That started Flashpoint this morning. From the right, Mark Davis of 660 AM The Answer, and from the left, Rich Hancock of virtualnewscenter.com.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome to Flashpoint. My buddy Rich Hancock and I are here to talk about something you've heard a lot about and you're going to hear a lot more about. Tax cuts. Good idea, bad idea. So let's start this in a fun way. Why aren't tax cuts a good idea in a seriously overtaxed country?
Well, tax cuts are a good idea when we don't know how we're going to pay for them. The simple fact is we don't have enough revenue to run the government the way we need to. We can anticipate growth, but that anticipation is often disappointing. The simple fact is we hear conservatives all the time tell us, don't buy stuff you can't pay for. Don't fund things you can't pay for. Don't fund tax cuts you can't pay for.
Well, there's a bit of a misnomer here that tax cuts need to be paid for, because when taxes are cut, happened in the 20s, happened in the 60s, happened in the 80s. The resulting growth creates more net revenue for the Treasury, so in a way we can both be happy. I get the tax cuts I want, you get the more money flowing into government that you want. What's wrong with that?
In the 20s we had a depression. In the 60s we had all kinds of political and social turmoil, and in the 80s the tax cuts weren't paid for. We didn't have growth in revenue. We had $400 billion a year in bad checks written by Ronald Reagan to cover for the loss in revenue.
Well, it was also to cover for the enormous profligate spending, which wasn't Reagan's fault. We were spending so much at that time that even the net increase to the revenue wasn't enough to cover it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The simple fact is Ronald Reagan cut taxes, then raised them 11 times over the rest of his presidency. Raised taxes 11 times to cover for the deficits that his first tax cut created.
In our remaining 10 seconds, is it okay for the people who are hit the hardest if a real tax relief to go to the upper incomes, who are the people who are paying the lion's share of taxes already? Can we flatten this out a little bit?
No, flat taxes don't work. From the left, I'm Rich Hancock.
From the right, Mark Davis, 660 AM The Answer.